I had a weed addiction for 28 years. And I'm going to share with you as honestly as I can my experience in hopes that it helps you. So I hope you find some value in this video. I started smoking weed really young. I was looking for friends and didn't have a lot of confidence and didn't feel a part of. And when I started smoking weed, it didn't help my confidence any, but it did. I instantly had a lot of friends. I mean, when I grew up in Southern California in the 70s, everyone was smoking weed before they had pubic hair. That's just where I grew up, and that's the environment that I lived in. And come to find out, not everyone smoked weed, but it didn't feel like it then. I mean, everyone I hung out with smoked weed. And I instantly enjoyed weed on one side, but I immediately had some consequences. And a big part of the consequences was the having to hide it, feeling the guilt and shame of having to hide it, feeling I wasn't socially skilled, and it certainly didn't help in that area unless I was hanging out with other weed smokers. So that's pretty much what I did. And I struggled with that. I like the feeling of weed, but I don't like the consequences. And what happened was the guilt and the shame and the lack of esteem got worse over the years. And that's where weed is insidious in my experience, is I would feel those feelings and emotions and know that I'm not living my best life, and I would medicate with weed to feel better about that, and it would work. I would listen to music and laugh and eat ice cream and watch cartoons and I got some escape from those feelings. But over time, those feelings just got brutal. And I tried quitting so many times, over and over and over again, over a 28-year period. And there was some experiences that were very consistent with me. Since I started smoking so young, in my experience, my emotional development really stayed adolescent. I really was so immature. And what would happen when I would quit was I would have these feelings of just inadequacy and guilt and shame and regret and fear and not being confident in who I was, not even knowing who I was. And what would happen was I would get this little thought of, I know how to feel better. Take a nice rip and I can escape this for a little while. And I had no other tools in life than self-medicating with weed. I medicated with other things as well, but it was always started and ended with weed. And invariably, I would start smoking weed again. And I see in the culture now, there's a big thing about cutting back and just taking tolerance breaks. And I had experienced that. I didn't know what they were called at the time. They didn't have that terminology. But what happened, my experience is whenever I took any time off of weed at all, the first time I smoked, I was right back to the daily habit of it. And it created years of weed depression. where my life was I was just trying to get by, tap dancing out to the world like I'm okay, but inside just feeling just not good about myself, not good about my life, not stoked on my relationships. And it was, until I could get high again and escape those feelings again. And what I finally had to do was face all those things that I didn't feel comfortable with. I had to learn to accept the past and gain clarity on what my values were. And I needed to sit in discomfort as I grew. There's a Bob Dylan quote that I so resonate with, and that is, "He who is not busy being born is busy dying." And to me, what that means is for me to overcome that addiction, I had to be busy being born, which was growing. Being born is painful. It's shocking. It's a new world, and it's not comfortable. And when I would go back to weed, I was busy dying because nothing changed. Nothing was being born. I had the same clothes for 15 years. I had a couch that I'd had, the same couch that was donated to me 15 years earlier. The emotions I had, the inability to deal with rejection, to just walk through life, nothing changed until I was willing to just feel those feelings and to practice being uncomfortable and to learn to take risks and accept that that life is life. I mean, weed tricked me into thinking that it's all one big weed high, music and joy and laughter, and I could immediately get that with weed, but that lasted such a short period, and the rest of my life was depressing and lacking in every aspect. And today, it's not like that. I had 13 years of abstinence off it, and I had a relapse on it for 8 months, and now I've got another 6 years off of it. And I'm clear that I have no desire to smoke weed, and I am clear with my values. I'm not perfect. I don't always live up to my ideals, but I am growing still at my age. I just turned 60 years old, and I am so grateful to be abstinent from weed. And I'm so grateful that I know that it does not serve me in any aspect whatsoever, nor does it serve anyone in my life in any aspect whatsoever. I will say this. There's some CBD cream that works amazing on pain when you rub it in there. It doesn't get you high, but for that, it works great in my experience. And the reason I'm making this video is because, I accept the past, but I believe with conviction that life is way more purposeful and rewarding without weed. And I wish that, selfishly for myself, it is what it is, but I wish I would have quit younger. I wish I would have had some sort of environment, some sort of narrative, some sort of guidance that helped me out of that addiction. That, it really was a long time to be stuck in life, and you don't have to be stuck. If you'd like to book a call with me, you can fill out the application below. And I'm happy to talk to you. Right on. Peace. That's what I got. Hope you found some value. We're still in the game of life. Anything's possible. Much love.